I'm the pine.
And I'm the water. And you're listening to A Cup of Tea.
A podcast about exploring life through each other's eyes.
While sharing a cup of tea with you.
This is our first online
episode?
version. I mean, what? No,
Yes.
It's not online. But like, what do I call it?
What?
What do I call this? This like
The
a
first,
broad Canadian situation.
This is the first. I feel like it's the equivalent of distance learning.
Mm-hmm.
You know. Oh, my headphones are falling off my head. The first remote.
There we
cup
go.
of
That's
tea.
the word that I was looking for.
Yes. And it's been, you know, it might not, it's like, so, it has been a while since we recorded the last episode. You know, a very long while. Although it might not be noticeable because of the way we're releasing them, but,
yeah. But still.
Yeah.
This
so,
is months later.
Yeah. And the funny thing is, maybe the only way you can see it, well, if we're doing the video version, and if you're watching it on YouTube, you can see that our hair is super long, which is something that I keep, like, thinking about because I haven't cut my hair, and you're also like that the other day, like, oh my god, my hair is so long.
I know. I can't wait for it to be longer, though,
hilarious.
and you just want to cut yours.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of getting, like, used to the idea of having it this length, which is not my favorite, and I used to hate it.
I think it looks
it's
cute.
Like growing on me, you know. I'm liking it.
It also
Although
needs
it's
a lot
very
more
yellow.
pink. Yeah, I was gonna say.
But
you know what? Like right now, it feels very like rose goldy because of how yellow it is. So like, I don't mind it.
I know.
I think it's cute.
Exactly. Me too. Like it's not like, you know, ages ago I bleached it. Mm-hmm. And upon looking back at all those photos from that time, I regret it so much. It looks terrible. I don't know why anybody, like, nobody said that to me. Nobody was like, it looks awful. And I would have really appreciated it. I mean, it probably would have been like, oh, what do you mean?
How dare you?
know? But
like just now when I said that
Jesus.
you do look sick.
Yeah. Yes. Just like that. Like I was, okay, so we were preparing to record and everything, right? And I was like, I'm pretty sure, like, I have no makeup on and I don't want to put makeup on. Because by the way, it's like 6 a.m.
Yeah.
Which if anybody here has listened to our like first or second episode, I think it is. When I say that I'm not a morning person, well, I just woke up at 6 a.m. to do this. And that's very early for me.
Look at the effort you're putting in.
Yes, exactly. So yeah, I'm not putting any makeup on because I'm probably just gonna go back to bed. And I said, I look like I'm crying or like I'm about to cry. And, I was like, and then the pine was very kindly, So
wait, do you believe, is this something that you're able to do? Like, if you're awake for like an hour and a half or 2 hours just now and go back to bed, is that a thing you can do?
100%.
That sounds insane to me. Once I'm awake, like actually awake, I'm like, I'm awake. This guy's awake.
You sound like my grandma's. But yeah, I can totally go back to... I think there's times when I might not be able to. But usually, if I'm up at like an ungodly hour, like 6 a.m.
Right.
And I have to do something and then I'm done with it, I can usually go back to bed and be like, yes. Although many times I'm just like, you know, let's just get on with the day. It's early. Got a good start.
Look at you.
Yeah. Yes. So.
On to today's topic. Well, no, that's not true. First of
agenda.
All, what are you drinking?
Oh, I'm drinking chai because I don't know if it's... I guess it's very evident
that you were sick.
Yes, I have COVID.
You don't.
I am pretty sure I do. My brother had it, you know, last week.
Oh, I thought you didn't. I thought you
I haven't gotten the results.
No.
I haven't gotten the results. I'm pretty sure it is, though. You know, my brother had it last week.
Yeah, you probably
he's been like he has this like mental schedule or calendar rather of how long it's been since he was possibly like in contact with COVID
Mhm.
people because he had to fly.
With COVID people.
Like, yeah, I don't know how to say it, but anyway. So he flew like Wednesday 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And then he started having symptoms a week ago.
Yeah.
And we shared a I don't remember how we established this was gonna be, but we shared what's the name of that? Jesus.
A
We were smoking pot
meal?
together. Yeah. So we
A
shared
pipe?
a pipe. Oh my god, I cannot talk. So then I was like, oh Jesus, I'm pretty sure. If anything,
did you see something about COVID affecting like your brain?
Yes.
That's insane.
Big time. Ages ago, I was like, at the beginning of the pandemic, and it's funny because I don't think we've talked about the pandemic here. But
no, we
at
haven't.
The beginning of
or
the pandemic, I was reading so much news. And I was like, I really like journalism as a thing.
Yes, you do.
So I was reading a lot of news, and I would keep reading like reports and investigations about like the cognitive impact of having COVID, and like all these people that have dementia after having COVID, or that have other kind of neurological damage. Yes, it's insane. I was reading, for example, about this nurse who went back to work after having COVID, like early COVID, like the heavy stuff. And she could not remember like the names of conditions or of medicines or stuff, and she couldn't work. Everybody was super concerned about that because they were like, okay, so you're a nurse, you have to know what to call whatever condition, right?
Yeah.
So, that's I know that we used to talk a lot about me basically complaining about my grandma, for example, going crazy about the whole prospect of having COVID because she was so scared of dying, and which I get. But I was more low-key scared about having COVID and having one of those like long COVID situations where you have neurological damage. Or I saw an article about a guy or some person who was like an athlete, like a varsity athlete at some school, and he just dropped dead. And I think he was like a sprinter or something. And he literally just dropped dead one day, like during training or something, because he had massive blood clots from long COVID. Yeah.
Oh my god.
I know. So that was scarier than like this is mild and I'm fine, and every day my dad and my grandma are like, how are you doing? Are your symptoms better? And I'm like, yeah, I just have this. You hear is the only thing I have. Yeah, it's just a cold. It's a sore throat. I have no fever. I have no headaches. I have nothing. Except for my voice.
Is that my voice?
Yes. So, yes, I'm drinking chai to alleviate the symptoms of COVID.
Of course.
It has a lot of ginger in it, so I think that helps.
Yeah, I would think. Ginger is nice. I like ginger. I am using my very pretty cup that was in my care package that you gave me before coming to Canada, and I love it, and I use it every day. It makes me so happy. Oh. And in the care package, I also had the rooibos, or is it raspberry tea that we have drunk before at a cup of tea, and that's what I'm having right now, and it's very nice, and it makes me happy. It very much sets me in the ACOD mood. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean. I was looking for my cup of tea mug, the white one. Yeah. The other day, and it's still in our set. In our bag. So I've been using this. It's my dad's actually. This thingy, and I am so impressed by its powers to keep stuff hot. Really? I remember that he told me one time ages ago when he just got it that he had coffee that we had gotten at Starbucks or something, and he forgot about it. Like, he got home and he left it on like the windowsill, and then he saw it the next morning, and it was still hot.
What?
And I was like, "What?
Like
Are you
warm.
kidding me?" Like,
Warm.
more than lukewarm, I would say, from his
Okay.
anecdote. Not like boiling hot,
Yeah,
of course, but still
Quite
drinkable.
hot. Wow.
Yeah, I
I'm
know.
impressed. I don't have that
Mhm.
good of a experience with the Starbucks. What are they? It's not a mug. What is it?
Tumblers?
Yes.
I don't know.
Maybe that one's better.
Yeah, it's like some impressive thing.
Mm.
So yeah, this is a long time coming episode of Pockets.
Not a
We-
pocket.
No, I mean, I'm just going crazy. Like, okay, so we've mentioned Pockets before.
Yes.
Here, obviously. And we're working on a lot of pockets, especially you. I would say you deserve a special commendation for all the work you've been doing, for all the editing work you've been doing, because you learned to edit like in 2 weeks, which is insane.
Yeah.
As I mentioned before.
I can do the basic things that I can.
I know. But hey, that's pretty good. Like,
Yay.
that's gotten us through
A lot.
editing.
Yeah, exactly.
And we said that, I said that we should do a cup of tea again, because we had this whole thing planned where we knew what we were going to talk about once we were in Canada, and then it just took us like 3 months to do it.
I know, but it's been like so insane over here. The Canada migration is just crazy.
It has. And, I remember that you had this embargo on stuff that you wouldn't tell me for, I don't know, like a month or something.
So yeah, no, we haven't talked really about my Canadian experience because we've been trying to save it for a cup of tea, but it's just been so long. And it's so funny because there was one time when you didn't know what I was doing for work.
Yeah. You were keeping it secret.
Yes, it was a secret. And then for some reason we were having FaceTime in the middle of it and like I spoiled it.
Yeah. I was like, oh, you're at work? Oh my god.
Yeah. I know.
Right. Well, what do you want to start with?
I think
I don't know.
I guess like what are you most curious about the Canada experience?
Well, first I was really curious about your job situation, but then we spoiled it for me. I mean,
I can still tell you about it.
Yeah. I mean, I remember you work at a bakery. That is something that astonished me when you told me. I was like, you work at a bakery?
I mean, to be fair, I don't make the cakes. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's a little more believable, I guess.
Yes, it is. So, the working situation.
Yes.
Insane. But first of all, okay, maybe I should go to the beginning. Hold up a minute. Okay.
Yes.
So, Canada storytelling time. Let me settle up. All right. So, first of all, I don't know if you remember that that we were going to leave. We were at the airport and we lost that plane. I mean,
right? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, you had to stay another day.
Yes, I did. So the thing is that it was like a whole mess that got really weird really quickly. Yeah, because we were at the check-in station stuff thingy, and they were asking us for like all of our documents and whatever, and like COVID was really big in that moment when it came to like traveling. The Canada traveling situation was closed up until September 7th or 9th or something like that.
Yeah.
So it was barely October. um, and when we were able to go. So we were at the check-in, and they were asking us for all of our paperwork and stuff, and we had to have like a reservation in Canada where we were going to be in quarantine, right?
Yeah.
So we had a hotel booked, but it was only like for a couple days, and we figured that we could just like elongate that time frame once we got there, and we figured that would be fine. Apparently, it wasn't. So that was one of the things that the lady at the checkout was like complaining about. We should have had our confirmed 14 days booked at the hotel. And we were like, we'll do it. We can just book it right now. It's fine. Just let us go. But the actual issue that was just so weird was like, they thought it was the weirdest thing that I was traveling with my brother and his kids without their mom. And we were like, their mom is dead. And the lady just like got all weirded out, and she called the immigration people. Not the immigration people. Is it the immigration people? Like the embassy?
The Canadian embassy?
Yeah, I guess. Because they were like...
I guess so.
Sure.
Yeah.
Let's say that's what it was. Because the lady at the check-in was like, this is weird. They don't have their booked confirmation. And, you know, she thought that we were trying to steal the kids. You know, like from their mom. God. I know. It was Jesus Christ. Wow. And we were just like beginning to feel a little desperate because the plane was about to leave. We were trying to do the booking for the extra days. And she just, because I think she realized that she messed up. Because then when she called the embassy person, my brother, she gave the phone to my brother, and my brother was trying to explain. And then at some point, when the embassy person got very suspicious of us, and he's like, no, have them come tomorrow with all their booking. I think then, and we told the lady that their mom was dead. Then the lady was like, no, it's okay. We can let them through. There's still time. And the embassy person was like, nope, just leave. Oh. Leave them there.
Like, this lady.
I know. It was hilarious. So we stayed that night at one of the hotels at the airport. But oh my goodness, we almost missed the second plane. So both of our flights were very early in the morning. For flying standards, maybe not that early, but I think it was like at 6 or something. Oh. So we woke up early-ish, and we went to have breakfast, and we were having breakfast, and then we're like, I think it's time, we should go. And as we are, by the way, all of this is with Safito at the airport. Safito is my cat, and she does not like her traveling crate. She hates it. Poor kitty. So I was trying to like have her outside as much as I could, and it was really cute. Just like her walking around, she had a leash and everything. It was really cute.
I remember the leash.
Yeah. She's in my Instagram stories. So, anyways, we had breakfast. We're like, we should go. It's time. And we thought we were like good. But we weren't. Because as we were walking to our gate, they started calling us. Oh. We were the last people that they needed on the flight. And they were about to leave. And they're like calling our names. And my brother's like, is that us? Are they calling us? And my niece is like, yeah, they're calling us. And then we all started running. And oh, Jesus. And I was trying to run with like my carry-on and Safito on top of it, like in her carrier.
In the crate,
and she kept falling off, and I had to like stop and get her and like keep running. And like, oh, no. So they were calling us, and my nephew is the first one to get there. And he's like, where's the other people? And like the person at the gate is like, where's your other people? And they're like, they're coming. And like, there's my nephew at the entrance, and then there's my niece, my brother, and like all the way in the back trying to catch them, but Tafito keeps falling, and I'm trying to like pick her up and leave and inside. But we barely made it. But once we were on the airplane, we're like, okay, this is happening. We're going.
Yeah.
And we could breathe. It was insane.
Oh my god! Wow. Yeah, I did not know all of that story.
Yeah, it was so funny.
You know, I would never ever recommend to anybody have that sensation of being called by the airport people.
Yeah. No, avoid it as much as you can.
Yeah, it's dreadful. It's like, oh my god. Yeah.
Yeah, we were afraid we were going to lose the next flight. But not because we were going to lose the next flight. We were afraid to tell my mom that we lost the next flight. You know?
Oh, yeah.
She was already so not happy that we lost the first one. We were like, it's not our fault. The lady didn't let us through. But the second one would have been our fault. So, thankfully, we didn't have to do that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was the flight situation. The next situation, okay, so we have a friend in Canada, and we were going to stay with his parents in their basement, because here in Canada, like, the basement is basically like another common floor, you know, like a story with like everything that you need, you know, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But for some reason that didn't happen, and we arrived here, and his brother picked us up, and so we couldn't, for some reason we couldn't go to their parents. I think the basement wasn't ready, like available or something. So our friend said like, oh, it's okay, we'll take you to this friend of mine house, and you can stay with her. It was a lady. And we're like, okay. It was not okay. It was crazy. We refer to her as like the crazy lady. She's a character. I don't want to be mean, because she did, you know, helped us out, and we were able to stay with her for like 3 weeks until we found an apartment, which was a thing on its own. But we'll get to that. So the crazy lady. We get there. She lives by herself, even though she has like 3 kids. But they're like teenagers and stuff. I don't know what their situation is. They come and visit her, but they don't live with her. But like, she has this weird ass sense of humor that's very inappropriate, but she thinks she's like breaking the ice. Because we got there, and like, whenever we start sort of like getting to know her and meet her and stuff, she started, I don't remember why. It just, something came up where it was like I was the odd one of the pack, you know? Maybe because they were like the dad and the kids, and I was the aunt or something like that. I don't remember what it was. Or maybe it was that I was a vegetarian. Something along the lines of that. I was the odd one of the pack. And she's like, oh, your mom must have picked you up from the trash, you know? And that was like a thing. She made it a thing. You know, and she kept telling it to me. She's like, oh, you poor trash baby. And I was like, what is up with you, lady?
Wow.
You know, because she wasn't being sassy. She was trying to be funny.
She sounds like one of those awkward comedy characters, like The Office, I'm thinking. Where you have this strange-ass sense of humor that nobody gets because it's not how it works or something.
No, Jesus Christ. And there were so many kind of like these odd things happening. Like, my brother would buy like bottles of Coke to drink, and then she would be like, oh, I never drink Coke or something like that. And then like later on the day, she'd be like, well, can I have one of your Cokes? Like, I never drink Coke, but now that it's here, like, do you mind if I take one? And my brother, being nice, he was like, yeah, sure. But every time he would go to the store to buy bottles of Coke, like 2 or 3, she'd be like, I never drink Coke, but do you mind if I have one? And she would always, like, get his Coke. And we were just like, what is up with this lady? And I'm trying to remember what Oh my goodness. Okay, yes. Um, she always had her TV on, like
Mm-hmm.
it was just on all the time, and it was like the loudest thing because her door was open, the TV was
Yeah.
on. It was the loudest thing, and the only thing she would watch was like murder stories.
Okay, yeah, this is getting weirder every
I
time
know.
you say something else.
I know. Murder stories. So like we would hear them, and it was just like, why is she listening to this like all the time? And the thing she kept telling us like she couldn't sleep unless she had like the TV on with a high ass volume and listening to murder stories.
What kind of a sociopath is she?
I don't know. She was a very odd lady, and I don't know, like, so yes. After some technical difficulties, like it was just insane because she would like yell at us and like I don't know. It was just I mean, to be fair to this lady, she's used to living alone and then these four random strangers walk into her life and live in her house. So
Yeah.
I don't know. It was a very strange experience. We could not wait to get out of there. Which brings me to my next point. Getting an apartment. My goodness. It's just it was like such an arduous thing. Most people, okay, so we're trying to find an apartment via mostly Facebook Marketplace.
Yeah.
Most people, well, first of all, we are four people. We were trying to find at least 3 bedrooms,
Mm-hmm.
which here it's like they call it. I think that's a 5.5. That's what they call it. Like 3 bedrooms is a 5.5, I think, because it's like the 3 bedrooms,
2
the
bathrooms and a half.
kitchen, and the living room. I think like they count it by rooms,
Oh,
by
wow.
areas, by sections, kind of. So
Oh,
it's very weird.
wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. No, I think so. It's a 3 bedrooms, the kitchen, and the bathroom. I think those are like the 5 that they are counting or something.
Mm-hmm.
Very odd. Within our budget, So it was very complicated. We spent like I don't know a couple of weeks maybe just like driving everywhere that we were like trying to get appointments for the different apartments.
Mm-hmm.
Most of them had no furniture. I mean, almost all of them had no furniture. So we were, kind of trying to, because we're like, we're just going to stay here for a little bit because we know that we want to move to a different province. So
Yeah.
are we going to rent an apartment and like buy a bunch of shit that we're not going to, like, what do we do after? Do we sell it? Do we take it with us? Like, it was just so
Yeah.
complicated. Because if we were going to stay here, which, if you're migrating, if you're moving somewhere, you should probably move to the place that you're going to stay for a longer time. We kept going to a bunch of different places. Some of them that we liked, they were like, oh, okay, so send me your like credit score and papers and recommendations. And we're like, we don't have a credit score in Canada. Does the Mexican credit score work? And they're like, no. And we're like, oh. So like most of them would not call us back. Most of them would not call us back. Which was very sad and it was very frustrating and we were losing our minds and it was just so we ended up like this has the fact that we have friends in Canada has just like been the thing that kind of saves us because they are the ones that have helped us finally finding an apartment that's completely furnished. The lady that owns the apartment usually uses it as an Airbnb.
Mm-hmm.
but she can also do like she just like stopped the Airbnb thing for a little bit for
Yeah.
the duration of our contract. So
Mm-hmm.
we were able to find a place. We were able to get out of the crazy lady's house that was
Sounds
making us
great.
super uncomfortable. And we found some peace now.
Yeah.
And then, so then the next thing was like the job hunting. Jesus. We've been going from like weird ass thing to weird ass thing. So the first thing we got was this hockey arena stadium thing where we would like clean the bleachers and do the bathrooms. That's the one that you caught me.
Oh, I thought
on
we
the
were in a
FaceTime.
movie theater.
No. It was a hockey arena.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So, and that was like, we were doing that like maybe 3 or 4 nights a week whenever they had games, I guess. And that was from 10 at night to 6 in the morning. That was our schedule.
I remember, yeah, the whole thing about your schedule being from 10 to 6.
I know, but it's so sad because if you who are listening to us / watching us remember our episode where we talked about the night owl thing and the early bird thing, I am very much the early bird. So now my sleep schedule is just all messed up and all over the place, and I end up going to bed at like 1 and waking at like noon, and I just...
That's fine.
No, I don't like it. I love the morning. When I woke up today, because we woke super early, everything was quiet and peaceful, and like it was the beginning of the day, and it was just so pretty. It made me so happy.
Well, you know, the good thing about going to bed at 1 is that we are able to work on pockets until very late.
That is
which is pretty practical.
It is indeed. So that's our first job. And then while we were doing that, there were some days where we would go to the Congress Center, and we were like staff. So we would like set up the tables and do odd things like setting up the stage for a conference and things like that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that one was nice. Like, there was like, it wasn't too heavy. And that one wasn't during the night. It was during the day. So it was very nice. And then we had that for a while. And I think the next thing was the bakery. Yeah. Well, my brother went to work with one of my friends that lives here. He installs like heaters and air conditioners, I think. So my brother helped him for a few days also. And then, then I think it was the bakery. And Jesus Christ, the bakery. You know that thing in Shrek where it's like hardly working hard or hardly working?
Yeah.
So the arena and the Congress Center was like hardly working because it was very, easygoing and low paced. It was a lot of work, but you were not in a hurry, kind of.
Yeah.
The bakery, though, that one was hard work. Because it's like this assembly line. Because when we heard, because again, it was like a friend of a friend. When they told us about the bakery, we had this little image in our heads of like this town little bakery thing, and
that's kind of what I'm thinking.
It's not. Yeah. It's a freaking assembly line. And our schedule was technically it was like 3:45 to
a.m.
No, in the day to 1 in the morning.
Oh, right, I remember that schedule.
But the thing is that this place is 1 hour away from us.
That is so, like, okay, so parentheses, I'm just remembering this thing of also a bakery that, one of my cousins who, is in Vancouver.
Yes,
he's not my cousin. Well, anyways, he's in Vancouver, and he started working at a bakery.
But he was actually like making bread.
Yeah, he's a baker. But the thing is, I think the bakery is in actual Vancouver downtown sort of thing, and he lives in Burnaby or somewhere that's like, or Surrey. I don't remember, but he lives far away, so he has to also do the like 1 hour commute. I think every day to go back and forth, and that just sounds terrible. You know,
It is a
that,
little, but you know, I feel like we kind of get used to it. Oh, I missed the part where we get a car.
Oh, right, you do. That was one of the first things you did, I feel.
Yeah. Within a month, we like got an apartment, got our car. It was like, because I was freaking out. I was like under so much stress and pressure, and I was like, we need to do this, and we need to do that, and we need to figure out, and we like insane.
I think you know, and this is maybe something that we mentioned in the last cup of tea ages ago, or for you just a week ago, but I remember that you were so, maybe not concerned, but that it was a thing that you were going to be the one who like knew how to do stuff and basically mom everyone around. And
I don't think there's been momming around because I've abstained myself from it. I do from time to time get very upset at the amount of dishes in the kitchen, in the sink. But I've tried not to be nagging about it and just respect everybody's thing. But anyways, I do feel like I took a lot of charge when it comes to like getting our shit together, mostly because of the language, and I do feel like they kind of took that as an excuse, you know?
Yeah, it's just like leave it to you.
Yeah, a little bit. But it's fine because we made it through and it worked. And the car was not that bad. Like, again, we were looking on like Facebook Marketplace and other places that were not very successful. Facebook Marketplace has been like our best friend. And we went to look like at a couple. We used to, you know, use the bus, which was cute because it's nice to have like that experience. But we definitely needed a car, especially like in the winter in Quebec and the schedules of jobs that we had. So we needed a car. We looked at a couple, but we ended up buying this Santa Fe Hyundai. That's what it is. Her name is Baloo. And it was like, it came, because it wasn't like from a person, it was like from a concessionary.
Yeah.
And they gave us like a 10-day permit, I think, to like go around without plates.
License plate?
Yeah. So we had the car, we were very excited, it was very nice. And then we just had to get the license plates, which was a very easy process. We just had to like go someplace to the Canadian version of the, what is it, the MVA?
DMV?
Yeah, DMV, that's what it is. But it was super easy. We just like had to pay for it and stuff. Which ended up being like $700, by the way.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Oh wow!
Yeah, that was quite crazy.
That's steep. Yeah.
And I think that's something that you pay like every year, but it does like it's the 700 right now because the changing of who owns it or something, and it'll be less next time, but still. Anyways, we got our license plates and we were super excited, and we have a picture with our car, and it was super cute. So we're very proud of ourselves for all the things that we were doing. And where were we? At the bakery. Okay, back to the bakery. Insane. Working hard. So it's like an assembly line. So there's of course the part where they make the cakes. But then there is us who are emballage, and we pack up the cakes. And it gave me flashbacks to living in the preserve, because it was like this
Mm-hmm.
very high paced, get it together, keep going. You do this, and then I move you there, and then I move you over there, and then you have to be able to like do everything that you need to do.
Mm-hmm.
Because in emballage, it's mostly just like cutting up the cakes in different ways, and
Mm-hmm.
just like packing them, and then sending the boxes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Decorating, I hate decorating. Oh my goodness.
You
Like,
had to decorate cakes?
yeah, a little bit. But whenever I could, I avoided it. I was like, this is not my thing. First of all, I would get so frustrated because it's like, there's a way to do it, with like the pastry and
Yeah.
stuff. And I was like, I do not have the sort of like delicacy. Especially because I'm in this like sort of preserve mood where it's like, do this and do that and do it super quick and do it really well and blah, 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 blah. But whenever they ask you to decorate, you're like being, like
Yeah.
kinder and
Yeah.
softer. And I'm like, I can't. I really can't. Plus, the worst thing about the bakery, for reals, is just that I got injured like years ago at one of those like tumbling parks.
Mm-hmm.
And since then, there's like a certain position where it hurts my back, but like there's just moments where I can't take it anymore. So whenever they had me decorating the cakes, my arms would be like up here, sort of like with a stand and like decorating the cake. And for some reason, that specific position of my body just got straight to that point in my back that just hurts me. And I would get so frustrating. There were several days where I'm like, I am holding back the fact that I'm about to cry so hard.
Oh,
it was awful. It wasn't just the decorating, because I tried to avoid it as much as I could, but it's that kind of, it's something about I think the height of where I'm positioning my arms and how far away from me and that kind of motion. Because when I was in the preserve, I remember that when it hurt me the most was when I was washing dishes at this particular sink that was very low and kind of like deep and far from me. And I remember that's when it hurt me. So something along the lines of that was happening here. So every time that we would go to the bakery, and this was 4 days a week, for 9 hours a day, it was just like I was not in a happy place. So that was going on. But not only that. So for a lot of for the first, I guess, month or something at the bakery, I was in this kind of mood, like I said, from the preserve, like flashbacks. And I was in this like super fast pace, get it all together and do it, and like the next thing, and So there came a moment when I was under so much stress that I fainted at the bakery.
Oh wow!
Did I not tell you that? Maybe I
no,
have.
You didn't.
That's hilarious. I fainted at the bakery, and the thing is that there's this assembly line where someone cuts the cake and sends it down the line, and then you pack it up, and that's a very like nice place to be. Like I like that one, even though it hurts my back. But my favorite place, my favorite ever place, is like there's these machines where you put the cake and the machine cuts it up for you. But the cute thing about the machine is that sometimes they let you in, like they give you your like stack of cakes and they send you to the machine, and then you're just there, and then it's by yourself, and you do it all yourself. And it just made me so happy because I was like either very happy, fast-paced, kind of working like, oh, I'm gonna get this rack done, and like before lunch break, and just like having fun with it, but like being productive, like going for it kind of thing. But then whenever I was the happiest when it was me and the machine. And I don't know if you know this comedian Bert. They call him the Machine. So I would always tell Pablo, like, oh my god, I was so happy today because it was the machine and me. It was like Bert and me, and it was like this inside joke that I was with the machine. And
yeah.
It made me very happy. So whenever I was by myself, like doing my thing, I was like in a calm mindset. But also the other thing is that we had two different sort of bosses. Like Monday and Wednesday was one lady, and Tuesday and Thursday was another lady. Lady number one, boss number one, is this like very old lady. The bakery is full of old ladies, by the way, like in their 70s, and they're doing stuff. Anyways, so it's this old mean lady that kind of like yells at you, and it's hilarious in the bakery because she kind of picks one to yell at for the day. So one day it's like, Maria, Maria. Oh, by the way, they call me Maria because it's my first name. So
that's hilarious.
I know, it's like a thing that I hope I'm gonna try to not let happen in Vancouver. But anyway, they call me Maria. So it's just hilarious because one day it's like Maria, Maria, and everybody's like, oh, Maria, Maria, and then the next day it's Alejandro, Alejandro, and then it's because so I am Maria. My nephew, who we all call Safer, is Alejandro.
Yeah.
And then my brother, who is Alejandro, is Omar.
Yeah.
And then no one could
freaky.
figure out what my niece's name was.
Well, that's the easiest one.
Well,
I imagine.
I mean, at first they would call her Alejandra, because they are all Alejandros, if you know, for context. But her name is Tabitha, and she would be like, whenever they asked her what her name was, she would say Tabi, and they were like, what? Gabby? Dabby? Like, no one would get it.
No,
and she was like,
Tabitha. She had the easiest job.
No,
she had the easiest. No. But isn't it? I would imagine that since her name precisely is Tabitha, that would be the easiest to just say, "Hey, my name is Tabitha."
I think the thing was that she wouldn't say Tabitha; she would say Tabby.
Well, yeah.
You know, and that was very confusing for them. But at the end, they learned, and they would call her Tabby. But yeah, it was just everyone kept just like. This day, you would just hear like Alejandro, 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 because my nephew was messing something up, and she like would get on our nerves, and it was very emotionally straining. Like, because I get from the preserve, it's all post-traumatic stress, of like someone telling me that I was doing my job wrong, and I would get super self-conscious and like. Plus, the thing that I was gonna say is that. There's, you know, you're like 8 to 10 hours on this thing, and you're trying to like have a good time as much as possible, or like just enjoy the day. So I would, if they pair me up with any of my nephew or my niece, because they would do that sometimes, and we would talk and we would chat and we would sing, and our bosses would be like. I don't remember exactly what they said, but it was like they would even. I think the old lady would be like blah 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 poquito. She would say poquito, so that we would shut up basically. And she didn't like it, and she started to not pair us together on purpose. She would like pair us with other people in the bakery so that we would not talk. So it became this sort of like. Atmosphere where you couldn't talk and you couldn't be happy and you couldn't sing and you couldn't, you know, it was like very machiney, and you know, it kind of weighs on you after a few days. But anyways, the fainting. I was under a lot of emotional stress just from my, you know, I think this is something that we mentioned in a previous cup of tea, where I was worried about how I'm used to living by myself, and now I was going to live with my family. So it's not that they were being mean or anything along the lines of that. it was, I see it as this, my intimacy bubble was so big because it was all over my house. But now I have to make my intimacy bubble tiny because I live with other people. So if that makes any sense to anyone, it was just, like rough on me. Anyways, I was under a lot of emotional stress and I was under a lot of pain from my back. And it was just, plus, the fact that it was such a like not great, like gray atmosphere, this thing where we couldn't talk, we couldn't laugh and just like do your thing, made me go to like dark places in my mind, and having negative thoughts and just being anxious and stuff. So everything was going on. Plus, it was like right at the moment where we had the car, we had the apartment. So before this, I was under a lot of stress, but I was on a mission. Once the mission was complete, it's one of those things where, like, if you're working out and you keep working out, you're fine. But the moment you stop working out, it's like you're dead, kind of thing. Yeah. It's like that. Yeah. So all of that just came together, and I was with the machine. I was very happy because I was at the machine and I was by myself and I was doing these cakes that were very heavy. And I started kind of like seeing in slow motion, okay. and my hands started feeling kind of funny. So whenever I would like touch, like grab the cakes or grab the table or something, I would be very conscious of like grabbing and touching stuff to like feel my hands. And then there's a Mexican guy at the bakery that has helped us a lot, and he always translates the French for us, and he's kind of like our friend. And he saw me and he's like, he came to say something like if I needed help, if I needed someone with me in the machine, because in the machine you do like the cutting of the cake, you put it in the machine, you take it out, and then you pack it. And I was like, kind of very slow, not not processing. Yeah. And then the old lady, it was that day, it was a Wednesday, I think. The old lady boss comes up to me and she's like, do you need a moment or something like that? And I was like, no. She asked me, I think what it was is that she asked me if I was okay, and it took me a second, because your first reaction is to say, yeah, I'm fine, Yeah. But it took me a second and I was like, no. And then she was to my right, and then I looked at our friend, our Mexican friend, and I was like, come here, because he was on the other side of the table, and I knew that I was about to like go down, and I knew it in my heart. So I was like, come here, but either he couldn't hear me or he wasn't sure what I was saying or what I meant. I think he wasn't sure what I was trying to say because he wasn't moving. And I was like holding to dear life on the table. I could feel my soul leaving my body. And then this is where it gets blurry. I think as I was holding on to dear life, my brother was coming in to like the section where we were at, and he saw me, or someone called him. I'm not sure about this part. But the next thing I remember is that my brother was yelling at me, like, hija, because he calls me daughter for odd reasons. That's the next thing that I remember. And I just remember kind of like collapsing on him. And he was like, can you breathe? I don't know if maybe he thought of something like COVID related or like something along the lines of that. But he kept asking me if I could breathe. And I'm like, yes, I can breathe. But I was just like collapsing. Like it took so much effort and consciousness so that I could tell him that I could breathe. And after that, I was just like, I just fell on top of him. So he carried me, and like I'm aware of like the trail because he took me out of that like the assembly space and went up the stairs and took me to the cafeteria. Like I know that theoretically, but in my experience that I was having, I was so out of state and kind of
out of body.
like not, it was like my consciousness, my range of consciousness, it was, instead of like I'm aware of everything around me, my consciousness was just like in this tiny, like only in my head, you know what I mean? And
Like
maybe in
tunnel
my
vision?
hands. Yeah, kind of, because my eyes were closed, but it was like the oddest thing where, like I said, I was not aware of like my surroundings. I felt that we were moving. I knew my brother was taking me somewhere, but I couldn't tell you where, even though like I know. It was just weird. So they put me on a table in the cafeteria, and I just opened my eyes, and there's this bright light in front of me. It was just like the ceiling light. And I'm like, where am I? And it's like, oh, okay, I'm in the cafeteria. So I'm lying down, and then they kind of like bring me up, they sit me down, and I'm just so out of it. And I remember my hands were like so numb and kind of shaky. And then I don't know, I just like, my brother was so worried, and then he's like mad at me. He's like, you scared me to death, you idiot. And I was like, sorry? Like, I don't know what to tell you. It was so funny though. And then at some point, they take me out of the factory, like to the snow, to breathe. And it actually felt nice. But I think walking was a bad idea. Because as soon as we came back in, I sat down again and I started, feeling that kind of numbness. Yeah, the tingling. Like you know that thing of like when your feet or your hands are numb, but it's like TV static. And you're like, that's exactly what I'm feeling. That I started feeling it, and like my sugar, like my blood level pressure, whatever that's called, went down again, and I was like, I'm going to faint again. And I was just like, no, it's okay, I can hold it. But everybody was so scared because I would start, whenever I would feel like the rush of going down again, I would start shaking and hyperventilating, and people were so scared that they wanted to call like an ambulance. I think they might have called an ambulance, but we were like, no, it's okay, like don't mind it, we are just gonna go home, and she just needs to rest. And we just got out of there. And after that, I think I didn't go to work the next day, obviously.
Yeah.
But it was so nice because it was like the first time that I was by myself in the apartment. It was like,
peace and quiet.
Yes. But it's not that. It's just, I feel like it's the presence, because it's like, at some point I had this thought, and I think I've had this conversation with my brother of like, when I am in my house and I live by myself, I'm just me. But if I am somewhere with other people, then I am something where, like, if we're all living together like we are, it's not just that I am me. I am the sister. I am the aunt. I would play these roles. And I think that's one of the things that were, like, affecting me, psychologically. I was going to say, like, emotionally, mentally, and then I ended up in psychologically, which kind of works out. So it was just that. It was just being by myself for that day, and like not being a role, not being, the aunt or being the sister. It was just me and it was so nice.
Yeah.
And that is like basically the bakery experience. I went back to work like the next week, I think, and everybody was like, "Are you okay? Like, if there's anything that you need, if you need to take a break, just go outside, like, you know." And then, we had Christmas, we have New Year's, we had days off, and then Quebec decided to have a curfew, which was like at 10 at night to maybe 5 or 6 in the morning. But that meant that we couldn't be, driving back at 2 in the morning. So at the bakery, they were like, it's okay, you stay home, and whenever the curfew is up, you can come back. So that's what we did, and it's been a month. And that's where we're at.
Yeah. I mean, wow, that's a lot of adventures that, you were saving for this.
Yes.
The fainting, I was not expecting the fainting at all.
No.
No.
I feel like I wanted to tell you, and I just like, I'll wait for a cup of tea to tell you.
I think it's, I don't know. I don't even know what to follow up with. But I was mostly curious about the living experience, I think, because I know that there's been times when you and I are FaceTiming and you're like the other day when Safer just like walked right in front of the camera,
shirtless.
I was like, oh, I was not expecting that.
Yeah.
Or your brother, like you put the computer on the kitchen and then your brother's like right next to you cooking and yelling stuff to the kids, and that's kind of hilarious.
Yeah, it's been cute for the most part. Like I said, like the rough, I've been having such a mental journey about that. This kind of like living in a pack dynamic. I've had my highs and my lows. Like I said, there was a lot of psychological stress about it, but it's not, like I said, it's not them. I feel like it's very much me, and I don't know how to be with people. Like for reals, it's been such a journey for me right now.
No, I know what you mean, because it's been what? You've lived alone technically for
6 years.
I was gonna say 7. Wow.
Yeah.
That's
well, maybe 7,
time,
counting the last year after after college. Yeah, 7 years.
So, I mean, it is a big adjustment to move back into
with people.
Family.
Yeah. Yeah. Plus, what's the thing that messes with me the most? Well, messed with me the most.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it'd be different. Like maybe if it was just me and my brother, but being the aunt thing has just messed up with me. Because the thing is that I'm the cool aunt. If you ask the kids, I'm the cool aunt. And I know how to be the cool aunt. And me and the Bicha would go to Paul, and we would go to go out shopping and like have a great time and stuff like that. But I don't, living with them.
Being an authority figure?
Yeah, it was like, it's been so confusing to me because like, I don't know how to. Because I had a bit of an experience with that whenever there was a time when my nephew came to live with me when I lived back in the apartment. Right. And that was also very weird because I was trying to, figure out how to be the cool aunt, but also be some sort of authority for him. And I don't think I did a good job. I don't think I was able to do it because I feel like I don't want to tell people what to do.
Yeah.
Because I've never liked authority, but I've been, oh my goodness. I have been in such a journey of like I guess maternity for me, but like being a parent. I've been so curious about being a parent, and some of it is from like stuff that I watch. The thing is, for some reason, either maybe we will say that it's not a biological thing, and I'm thinking about kids,
Yeah.
because we are not ready for that. But maybe it's
No.
because I'm living with them and I'm trying to figure out this whole like being a good figure for younger
Yeah.
youngsters, So I've been really getting into sort of figuring this out in sort of like responsibility and ethics and like how, because I think what I would like is some sort of structure, how to give someone structure, but without being naggy. Or like how do I convey this wisdom that I have and experience without sounding like a parent, or like the bad aspect of a parent. And I listened to the Will Smith book, which, oh my God, will be my recommendation of today, by the way. And in the latest episode of, I think I told you, I sent you a text. I was listening to Ear Biscuits, and Link's recommendation was the Will book. And I was like, yes!
Oh, yeah, you did say that.
I was so happy that he listened to it. And it's such an experience to listen to it, I think, rather than read it. Because he narrates it himself, and he's such a character, and he makes voices, and he sings, and he raps, and it's so much fun.
Yeah.
You should listen to it.
I will. I have, that thing of having books that you never read thing.
Yeah.
Well, I'm reading like 3 right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like I haven't gone through any of them in like a week or something.
Yeah.
But that one is on my list.
Good.
I will say that.
I'm glad. So yeah, it's just this sort of like the authority, because I even had a talk with my niece about it, and I was like, I want to be like, I don't know how to be an authority figure to you, because I'm just a cool aunt. So how do I become an authority figure for you?
Yeah.
What is my role here? What is my responsibility as your aunt? Because I don't know. I became an aunt very young, so I don't know what that means. And I've never been around my actual aunts and uncles. I don't feel like I have an actual relationship with any of them. They're just there. They're fun. They're my family. I go see them for holidays or something, but I don't feel like I know what that sort of role.
You don't have a reference for them.
Yeah, exactly.
For how to,
and she did tell me, like, I don't appreciate you calling it an authority stuff, because I don't think authority is a word that I would like. And I'm like, I get that.
Of course you wouldn't.
I get that, because I was never big on authority, but that's not what I mean. I mean, like, the good side of it, the structure,
like a role
thing.
model sort
exactly.
of thing. And
which was a very nice conversation I had with her. One of the things that has been very lovely is this sort of like random conversation, like family meeting situations that pop up, and those have been very nice, and probably something that I would not be having if we were not living together. So for a lot of it, it's been very lovely. The not so lovely part, it's just me being in my head and try to deal with all of the things that I come up with in my head,
Yeah.
as we do.
Indeed. Well, this has been a long episode with a lot of technical issues.
Yeah, I know. We'll cut some parts.
Yeah, but I don't know. Is there anything else in your mind about this whole experience? I mean, I think it's I think we saved this for such a long time that there
was so much to unpack that it wasn't like going deep into a thing. It was just like, there was this and there was that, and then this thing happened and then this other thing happened, and now we're here.
Yes. I think it's cool though that we made this like special thing where you told me here.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like I think I have this reference of all these people I know that have tried to do like the moving to another country thing or going abroad. I mean, especially right now, if I just say that, for example, out of my 4 best friends in life, probably, 2 of you are in Canada.
Yeah, which means that you need to get here.
Yes, I know. I feel peer pressured.
Good. I'm glad.
But that's the thing, like the life changing thing that that it doesn't seem scary, like I know that for me, I mean, there's like these huge ass things that can happen, like the bakery experience, and from another friend of mine who tried to go to Canada as well and try to do like to make it work, but she couldn't do it.
Yeah.
I know that it can also be like super stressful and like
not anxiety
inducing.
Yeah.
Yes. So there was a time where I would ask you how you were doing, and you wouldn't say anything, and I was like, okay, fine, I won't ask anymore because I know that we're sort of like saving it for a cup of tea, but like I'm getting nothing here. I'm like walking blindly into this. I know that I needed to know, right? Because there's like, but I did feel like something like the bakery thing might happen, and you wouldn't tell me because of the cup of tea thing. Yeah. And I was like, I don't know, maybe we can just like can it, I don't think we need to stay this for a cup of tea, but I don't know, whatever. And then we started working with pockets, and
that's been great.
I also think it's kind of cool that that we have been inspired, as a parenthesis in all of this, my computer died, right?
Yeah. Oh my goodness. That's been a thing
like, okay,
as well.
You left mid-October. My computer died mid-November.
Yeah.
Which is when we started, like, when we were planning to get to work on editing and, like, post-production and stuff. And I couldn't do anything. And it was not just a pockets thing. I couldn't do any of my other work.
Oh, but before your computer, it was like me ordering my new computer and waiting for it to ship. And like ordering it was a whole thing on itself because I went to the store like a couple times and they didn't have it, and I was trying to get it like with credit,
like with a Spanish. Oh, right.
Yeah. I was trying to get it with
the keyboard, but yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't mind the American
French
one.
Keyboard.
Like no, probably not the French keyboard. Probably wouldn't like the French keyboard, even though I don't know what it looked like.
It's really weird.
Yeah. So
no.
Yeah. No.
No.
But no, I was trying to get it with a credit. And there's this weird sort of website thingy that Apple like and Klarna? I guess a lot of Canada uses. So instead of using your credit card, which I didn't have. I mean, I did have a credit card. The Mexican one. Why didn't I use that one?
I don't know.
Right. No, I do. Because I think my credit card would only give me like a month to pay, usually. But I was trying to get like a 6 months or a 12 months. And the way to do that was through this sort of other company that I guess looks at your credit score. But again, I don't have a Canadian credit score, so I couldn't do that. And it was just a thing. So instead of buying it at the Apple place, I had to order it online. I couldn't use the credit, so I had to actually pay for it, the one payment thing. And then we had to wait for it to ship. And oh my goodness, such a trip. And then your computer crashed. And then we had to wait for your computer.
That was so, talking about anxiety-inducing
events.
Experiences, yes. That whole thing of, I felt seriously... And I know it might seem such, like, a first world problem kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I felt so anxious about not being able to do stuff.
Well, I don't know if first world, maybe, but just, like, I don't
I
know.
mean,
Like
if I say, "Oh my god, I don't have my computer," it's kind of sounds stupid. It's what I like.
no,
I
but
can't share
like
my
right
screen.
now the world is so
Yeah,
like like
that
a
is
computer
true.
is just the way you do things.
Yeah.
Some
Yeah. So
things, I
it
guess.
died,
Yeah.
and I couldn't do pockets, which I mean, we decided it was fine. There's no pressure. We're doing
But
it
it
on
was
our own
hilarious because
time.
when I got my computer, you would like get
Yeah.
control of my screen and you would do things
Yeah.
through that
Yeah. Because
on my computer all
you know,
across
I had,
countries.
and I still have. I'm seeing it right, like it's in my eye line. My old ass computer from like high school /
Right.
college, which is this it's like 10 years old. It's a 2012
Wow.
small like MacBook
That's cute.
Pro. Yeah. And so I was so stressed out about having to do these things. I have, you know, one of my current jobs, also like sort of gigs, is doing like community management and sort of being an assistant to one of my former dance teachers. I guess we can call her. And she wanted me to like edit videos and to do stuff, and I was like, I can't.
Right.
And I get so stressed out about the fact that I can't do the work that I'm supposed to be doing or that she wants me to do. I was, I mean, not on the brink of fainting, but yeah, and then doing the pockets thing remotely, which I mean, thank God, Apple did this thing where you can control somebody else's computer through
really
FaceTime,
cool.
but yeah, it was so weird.
It's so helpful. Like, it's amazing. I love it. Because then you can teach me stuff.
I know. That's how you've been
and
learning
you can
how
fix
to edit.
stuff that can't.
Yes. But now we're here. I feel like we made it through this rough patch of like 3 weird ass months where
I feel like my weird patch is not done yet. Hopefully it will be once I get to Vancouver. For some reason I'm just like, that's the light at the end of the tunnel, you know?
Yeah, I guess it is. Yeah. I can see that.
Yes.
But hey, I'm really excited that we're back to doing a cup of tea.
I know,
and that we're working on pockets a lot.
Yes. I'm so excited.
And to wrap this up, well, you already did your rec for today, which is Will Smith's book. What's it called?
Will.
Oh.
Literally. It's just Will.
Yeah. Which you should read.
What's yours?
Well, here, listen to.
Listen. I mean, you can read it, but listening to it, it's like such another experience.
Just last night I was watching this show it was created by Mindy Kaling, and it's called The Sex Lives of College Girls. And it's nice. It's funny. So yeah, that's my recommendation for today. And I guess we'll see you next week. Well, I don't even know how to end this anymore. I feel like we've lost practice indeed.
I think we have. But we'll get back on it. It's okay.
Yes. Well, goodbye.
Bye.
Thanks for sharing a cup of tea with us. To watch more episodes of A Cup of Tea, click the link on the right. If you want to watch Pockets in the Universe, go to the playlist on the left.